today is about environmental problems and issues. Our learning objectives. First is describe the basic composition and structure of the atmosphere and its processes in relation to climate and weather patterns. Next, understand how climate has changed during the last million years. Analyze the human activities that resulted to increase emissions of greenhouse gases and understand the effects of global warming and to positively adjust to climate change. So, in our Earth ecosystem is a community of living organisms that interact with each other and environment around them. It is also support all life on Earth, providing us with food, water, and medicine. We also provide us with the energy we need to sustain human civilization. According to NASA, the latest numbers of our planet's long-term warming trend, the average temperature in 2020 tied with that from 2016 to be the hottest year of the record. So, start with 1975 to 2002, the Earth is balanced pa ecosystem. Hindi pa siya mainit. Unlike Earth Day 2020 then and up to now, hindi na nagkakaroon ng irregularity ang ecosystem and because of the climate change. So the atmosphere is the mixture of different gases that is strong enough to prevent gases from escaping, most especially in the gaseous envelope of the. So atmosphere is the layer of the gases surround the planet or other celestial body. So our Earth atmosphere is composed about of 78% of nitrogen, 21% of oxygen, and 1% of other gases. Our atmosphere consists of 5 main layers from lowest to highest. Is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. Next is the climate change. Climate change refers to the change in environmental conditions of the Earth. This happens due to many internal and external factors. The climatic change or climate change has become a global concern over the last few decades. This climatic change affects on Earth in various ways. So what is the cause and effect of the climate change? The causes of the effect of the climate change are rapid industrialization, energy use, agricultural practices, deforestation, consumer practices, livestock, transportation or transport, resources extraction, pollution. And the effect of these are rising temperatures, rising sea levels, unpredictable weather patterns, increase in extreme weather events, land degradation, loss of wildlife, and biodiversity. So, in social impact of the climate change, or what are the social impacts? So, first is displaced people, poverty, loss of livelihood, hunger, malnutrition, increased risk of diseases, global food and water shortage. That is the effect, cause and effect of the climate change. Next is the ecological footprint. So, ecological footprint is the measures the demand on the supply of nature. So, it measures the ecological assets that a given population or product requires to produce the natural resources and consume. For example, including the plant-based food, fiber products, livestock, and fish product, timber, and other products, space for urban infrastructure. So, it's in to observe it ways, especially carbon emission. For example, of the unlimited resources, the food, cropland and pasture, The product is food and fiber, in forest, the timber and the paper, and build up land, wind infrastructure or settlement, and the carbon footprint serves as the energy. Next is the following statement were deduced by the scientists to state the present condition and what the warming of Earth. So first is the global average surface temperature has increased over the 20th century about 0.6 degrees Celsius. Second is the temperature have risen during the past 4 decades and the lowest 8 kilometers of the atmosphere. Snow cover and ice extent have decreased. Global average sea level has risen and ocean heat content has increased. Changes will also occur in other important aspects of climate. Some important aspects of the climate appear not to have changed. Concentration of atmospheric greenhouse gases radiative forces have been continued to increase as a result of human activities. And also anthropogenic aerosols are short-lived and mostly produce negative radiative forces. And lastly, the natural factors have made small contribution to radiative forcing over the past century. That is the following statement of by deduced by the science. The next is the scope of the global environmental change, the greenhouse effect. So, greenhouse effects, the main gases responsible for the greenhouse effects include the carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and water vapor, which all occur naturally, and carbonated gases. Greenhouse gases have different chemical properties and are removed from the atmosphere over time by different processes. So you can see the natural greenhouse effect with the solar radiation, liquid generated heat, with less emitted heat, we cover with the atmospheric, and under the upper of that spirit is the greenhouse effect. And nagagawag na evaluate to the human enhance. So, enhance that to by the human activities. Next is the chart that how greenhouse gases form our planet. So according to the research, 76% of the carbon dioxide affecting the greenhouse gases to warm our planet. Next is the methane, which is 16%. There's no nitrous oxide that is 6%, and carbonated gases that is 3%. The next is pollution. So pollution is the introduction of harmful materials into the environment. These harmful materials called pollutants. It can be natural, such as volcanic ash. They can be created by human activities, such as trash or runoff produced by the factories. Pollutants also has damaged the quality of air, water, and land. What are the types of pollution? First is the water pollution. So under the water pollution, it occurs when harmful pollutant and particulate matter are introduced into a water body. So these contaminants are generally introduced by the human activities, like improper sewage treatments or spills. So other significant causes of water pollution include the following. First is the dumping solid waste in water bodies. Next is the disposing and treated industrial sewage into water bodies, human and animal waste, agricultural runoff containing pesticide and fertilizer. So next is the air pollution. So under the air pollution, it refers to the release of contaminants. These contaminants, example is chemical harmful gases, particulates, biological molecules, etc. So into the atmosphere, these contaminants are quite detrimental and in some cases cause serious health issues. So some causes of that contribute to air pollution are, first is the burning fuel fossil, mining operation in exhaust gases from industrial factories, So other effect of air pollution are increased risk of respiratory illness and cardiovascular, increased risk of skin disease, may increase the risk of cancer, global warming, acid rain, ozone depletion, and hazard to wildlife. So that is the cause of the air pollution. Next is the soil pollution. So soil pollution refers to the degradation of land due to presence of chemicals or other man-made substances in the soil. So any toxic chemicals presented in the soil will get absorbed by the plants. So some common causes of the soil pollution are improper industrial waste disposal, oil spill, acid rain, which is caused by the air pollution, mining activities, intensive farming, and agrichemical, like fertilizers and pesticides, and industrial accidents. Next is noise pollution. So noise pollution is generally man-made and refers to the excessive amount of noise in the surrounding, absorb that disrupt the natural balance. So any sound which over 85 decibels is considered to be a criminal act. So, noise pollution has several contributors, which include the following. First is the industry-oriented noises such as heavy machines, mills, and factories. Next is transportation noises from the vehicles, new flames, construction noises, noise from social events like loudspeaker, firecrackers, and lastly, the household noise such as mixer, TV, washing machine, etc. Next is the personal pollution. So under the personal pollution, it includes the excessive smoking, drinking, or drug abuse. Next is poor living condition and habits, poor personal attitudes, emotional and physical abuse. This causes a lot of other pollution. So next is the radioactive pollution. So under the radioactive pollution, it occurs when there is a presence of deposition of radioactive materials in the atmosphere or environment, especially where their presence in accident and when it's present and environmental heat due to radioactive decay. So this is also the destruction caused by the radioactive materials because of the emission of hazardous ionizing radiation. So that's the following example of pollution or types of pollution. Final requirements and final exam. So for your 50 to 75% of your exam, make a video about global warming. What is the effect of this and what can you do to help our Earth? And take a video while you plant a tree or share any micro efforts you can do to help our Earth in order to minimize the global warming. So after you make a video in all, post in Facebook and tag me and use the hashtag GBChonesty and hashtag Save the Earth. The deadline will be on April 24 to May 30, 2020. So that is your final requirements and final exam.